The Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu will be laid to rest on Saturday. The Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation has announced a series of events that will lead up to the funeral service. The Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation says the bells of the St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town in the CBD will ring for 10 minutes at midday from Monday to Friday. The foundation has asked that anyone who's able to hear the bells take a moment to reflect on the Arch's life. The South African Council of Churches will hold a memorial service in Pretoria on Wednesday. On Thursday evening, there will be an intimate evening with the friends of the Arch and his wife Leah. The Arch will then lay in state on Friday in the St. George's Cathedral. The Archbishop of Cape Town, Thabo Makgoba, will lead the funeral service on Saturday. For more on this, let's now bring in SABC News reporter Atule Joka, who is at the St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town. Atule, I imagine lots of activity taking place at the cathedral. What have you seen so far?
Well, indeed, Desiree, it has started to being vibrant. It is a hive of activity. Most people are moving up and down. We are starting to see action here, especially after that announcement that the Arch will be laid to rest on Saturday. When we came in here, we couldn't even find parking. We were told that is the parking of the VIP security parking. We see a high level of security cluster converge here inside, trying to plan how they are going to about to make sure that there is law and order of the day of the laying to rest of the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Where we are now, it is where he spent most of his time as the leader of this church, as the Archbishop and also as a dean previously. So this is a church which also has a significance in the fight against apartheid. It's also known as the Cathedral of the people for its resistance against the apartheid regime. The Arch, the condolences have been pouring in since his passing. Most people from all walks and corners of life conveying those condolences messages, especially describing him as a life that came full circle. We were speaking to some of the locals in Cape Town yesterday. They were saying the Arch had humor. The Arch was closer to God. He waited until the Christmas to gift Jesus with his birthday gift before he could go to his forefathers on the next day, on the 26th of December. That's when the Arch passed away. Right behind me where we were standing, Desiree, it is a wreath laying. This is where most Cape Townians come here to pay their last respects, to come and also put their wreath with their messages that they are conveying to the Arch to say, we have been a light, we've been a shining armor in the times of oppression, in the time of repression in this country. So we are here to say we acknowledge your light. We also spoke to a young person yesterday, Desiree, who said that if it was not for the sacrifice of the Arch, the country would not be where it is today. So they are very grateful for the role that the Arch has played. These are some of the reads that are here, some of the very heartwarming messages that are retained here. They are remembering the Archbishop with love and the role that he played during the liberation struggle, and they say they are thankful for what he meant for our beloved country and speaking truth to power. This is certainly what he has been remembered about, Desiree, for speaking truth to power, a life well lived, a life which is a calm full circle. Most people said that the Arch cried when his people cried. He laughed when his people laughed. He danced with them. That is what the Arch stood for. He is known, he is remembered for his sense of humor as well. That's how the incumbent Bishop Makgoba remembered the Arch, saying, of course, this was the man who lived a life fully. Bishop Makgoba will be addressing a press conference right now at 10:30 to give us sort of the details in depth of what will transpire on the day of the funeral, how they will undertake the funeral of the Arch, because we know that the Arch was a man who had many elements into him, because he was the church person, he was a leader, he was an archbishop. He was also had a very strong footprint in politics and also activism in the country as well. He was also very significant in the political landscape of the country. He's also a family man, he's loved worldwide. So all these elements will come into play. All those people must be accommodated during the funeral of the Arch on Saturday. These are some of the messages that are going to the Arch. This one here, it says, "Thank you for the light that you were in the world, for being a true role model of compassion, and for living the truth. You will always be an inspiration and a beacon of hope of humanity. May your soul rest in peace." So this is a consensus amongst the people, Desiree, that he was the shining light, he was the moral compass, he was the guiding light to the people. Right now, we'll go inside the cathedral to listen to the Dean of the Anglican Church and also to the Archbishop Thabo Makgoba to give us details of how the funeral will transpire on Saturday. Certainly, you've seen people coming in. This is where they come. We are just adjacent to the National Assembly, to the Parliament. That is the entrance where people are coming. They sanitize and then they get their temperatures checked and they walk through to where we are standing now to lay their wreath, to lay their messages, convey their heartfelt messages to a man who sacrificed his life to say, we do not need the barrel of a gun. We do not need to take up arms to negotiate and also stand for peace. This is the man who confronted the apartheid regime. This is the man who confronted some of the injustices that were done by the liberation movement when they were in power, even during the tenure of President Thabo Mbeki, against the distribution and the rolling out of antiretrovirals. He's the man who spoke up against corruption during the presidency of President Jacob Zuma. One would only assume what he would have said during the PPE scandals that were currently being done during this presidency that is sitting now. So this was the man not to mince his word. He was always vocal and stand and was always on the side of those who were servitude, always on the side of those who were vulnerable. Just about now, Desiree, we are going to go inside and hopefully you will catch us there in that press conference with the details from the church itself. I'm sure they want to centralize the message of how the proceedings will take place, because even the city of Cape Town did whisper to us that they want to honor the Arch, they want to have an interfaith memorial service, but they do not want to jump the gun and announce, because the Arch is also a statesman, is a family man, is also a churchman. So they want those proceedings to take place, and also after the church has announced, they will come back to announce. We'll also be waiting for the president of the country to tell us which state category funeral will be accorded to the Arch and what will transpire there as well. Desiree.
Atule, go quickly so we can reconnect with you in a bit. Of course, it won't be with Atule then. It will be with the organizers of the funeral giving us the latest details. We'll be taking you back through to St. George's Cathedral in a bit. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond